Super. Thank you very much. Now we can hear. Hi there, everybody. It's good to be again at Mannsein and to be able to be a man, although this is happening only digitally. It's a wonderful, a cool conference. Please believe me. I would love to be with all of you in one room. I always loved this conference. I think one of the major benefits was that you had the physical proximity, being amongst men, this community feeling. Many friendships were born in this during the Mannsein conference. So I thought, what are the mechanisms behind friendships, and which I will come back to. Thank you very much for the great organization. You are doing a wonderful job. Hi, everybody. My name is Horst Wenzel. I was asked whether I can do something which is off topic. And then we came to the topic of friendship. I've a lot of ties to this topic. At the end of this conference, this talk, I would like to have a sort of wrap-up or resume, a summary. Probably you get an impulse, a triggering moment, and you find somebody who will become your companion, and you can also clear up your social life. If you have any question, please write it here on the chat and let me know. And towards the end, there will be a chance to enter into question and answer or to interact with each other. I have brought along a little presentation, so let's jump right into this. So these are the tricks of the trade. 2020 is a strange year. It's a year, and I know of many people. I know it from my professional activities as the founder of the Flirt University. I was addressed. I'm isolated. I feel so lonesome during the quarantine, the lockdown. Well, look at this. Finally, I realize how few friends I have. These are those people that really kept contact with me. Those who have been by my side, even though it might have been only digitally. It's a clear, a watershed situation. Due to this pandemic, who are the people that I can trust, that I can rely on? Who are they? Well, I hope you have muddled through very well and had a good time. So, okay, can you see my screen? If not so, let me know. Okay, you see the presentation, correct? Yes, please thumbs up. Okay, good. Now, dear friends, let's talk about companions on your way. How to find the right friends in your life. I think we should look at this. Sooner or later, you need to ask yourself this question as a man, because friendships and finding friends is something that is normally dealt with at a subconscious level. And now the big surprise, why do I always end up with doubtful characters? And people will probably, or men will probably try to get more out of their life, to reflect on this in a more conscious way, become more aware of the value of friendship. Hello everybody, good to have you with us. It's only an online conference. Why only? It's so cool to have this opportunity. Thank you to John Eichner and the entire team of this conference. Fully motivated. Okay, let's now start. What is the agenda? So, a quick introduction into this topic. How can you recognize the true comrades? How can you generate friendships? How are they born? Some tips and tricks on how to establish friendships. Dear Horst, I've been asked, what about flirting? What about women. My hobby horse, flirtation. I help both men and women to shed their shyness, to become a more social and societal person, to be able to reach out to other people, to increase also their own attractiveness. One topic is always, how can you go out with a buddy to conquer? Well, if there is time enough, my name is Horst Wenzel. I was built in 1988. I am a counselor in the establishment of media projects. I have a big flagship project, the Flirt University .de. This week we have reached, all in all, 27 million hits from the German-speaking countries. So we have a fairly strong magazine. We write every day about a flirtation, becoming acquainted, dating or social life. How can you create a suitable type of relationship to get this into going? What about online dating? How can you develop further as a man? But we have so many on offer for women. But today it's about men. I also prepared a single marketplace called partner.de. I came from political communication. That was my turf at the beginning. Then I noticed that politics is a difficult turf. Quite often it's only problem oriented. I'm rather solution oriented. Therefore, I switched sides and became an entrepreneur. So I am a self-employed teacher and speaker. For example, I teach at a Swiss university and I give frequently talks. So what can you learn from me? So how can I increase my attractiveness as a man? How can I become acquainted with new people? How can I reach out? What makes up a good companion? And how do I become an even more social man? Why friends? We are strong guys, or we are a true man. Why do I need others? I can do everything. Why? No, that's not true. People without friends will wither away. Well, they may be called the loners, but you need good friends. They compensate your deficits. Good friends make sure that you are in a balance. How shall I put it? The fine-tuning. Good friends provide you feedback. They help you in your personal development because you get a reflection of what your impact is. What is it that you leave in the mind of others? Good friends will not beat about the bush. No, they will be frank and honest. They do not want to cajole you into something. They do not want to make unnecessary compliments. They will tell you right away if you have made something utterly wrong. That's what I appreciated always in projects. In larger contexts, it's difficult. It is difficult with people that are not at eyes level. But if a buddy tells you, hey, that's a way you can't do it. Dear Horst, you must change tech. So good friends help you in your development as a human being and as a man. So they will increase your enjoyment in life because friendships are fun, at least if you have the right friends. It feels good. You might also say, what brings proximity or closeness or where you have intimacy can also come along with stress, with if you just come to think of it, where you feel uneasy, where there are less options. That's bad, rather bad. But where you have this wideness of spirit, happiness, joy, just to coming to think of it, your heart opens up and you feel a grinning smile on your face. You can trust your feelings. You should get more of it in your life. Therefore, I think it's important to make this difference. Who are the people that benefit us, and who are the people that are rather detrimental to us, or that create rather damage in ourselves? So good friends forge bridges to new contacts. So we could call them the social connectors. These are people that they know they give you added value just by presenting you to new people. Probably you are yourself such a very societal man, somebody who is a bridging link between so many networks. It's very exciting. If you go out with somebody and they present you immediately with other people, I think it's a good quality of friends. And good friends have a positive imitative effect on you. No matter whether you like it or not, they will change your tack. You meet somebody else and automatically you get something out of this new person. You cut a piece out of them. It may be a good habit or a bad habit. These may be linguistic patterns or ideas, strains of thoughts. These may be values that you share in a group of friends. You know, it looks a bit like a kindergarten. At school, there was one word that somebody brought up, and all of a sudden everybody used this new word. For example, someone in your Knorke, let's say an idiomatic word. In the kindergarten, when I was very small, one boy, it was in Hesse, they continued saying gel, gel. And I always replied, nö. After a few weeks, all children said it, like in the English question tags, isn't it? Every boy said not only gel, but also nö. Everybody kept saying gel, nö. There will be lunch, gel, nö. So we adopted a fashionable word, a tag, a question tag or anything. You know it probably from your school days. You shared a social space or a social construct, or at school or at the university or during your professional training. Many friendships might have sprung up. Most friendships are not generated with a plan, but because they feel good, they come with joy and fun, and you have a good time together. You need to keep this in your mind. The people that surround you make you up. Tell me who is around you and I know who you are. There are so many people that are surrounded by the wrong people. Well, it's left over to anybody who is taken on board in your life's ship, but most of the times this choice is not taken consciously. Most of the times it's a happen chance, as if it was God-given. Friendship, no, far from it. You can select your friendships. You can bring in people that are benefiting you, while those people that damage you, the vampires of time, the vampires of energy, you can kick them out, yes. It's good to clarify this and to clear ones. You will take on the color of your friends more than we are aware of. You will take on not only certain linguistic patterns, or if you are traveling all the time as a man with somebody who is all the time has a very negative attitude, who thinks always in problems, suffers a lot in life and complains a lot. If he complains a lot, you will also be burdened by it. But while we have other people who are solution-oriented, they are always in good mood, and this also is transmitted then. I had the feeling, well, certain people wanted to go out with me and they said, well, it doesn't feel good. Why should I? Yes, of course. There is also a certain area of networks or where you forge your contacts, but you have to go through it. But good friendships feel light. They are not always easy, but they feel easy. There might be difficult patches. You might even quarrel, or where you can shout at each other. It's okay in a friendship. But in principle, the relationship as such is forged with the spirit of easiness. Good friends will leave their mark on you. It's like a piece of cake from every... You take a little piece of my cake just by listening to me. Probably by the rhetoric, but also by the content. So you create your own cake. Your own cake is composed of so many facets. Small cakes, larger pieces from your parents or your siblings do have a huge impact on your life, but also people who you spend a lot of time with. At times, people that have a lasting effect on us, probably fellows on the job that are probably not benefiting us, even they will have an enormous impact by the way in which they act and the way in which they live their lives and how they see the world. So the self-concept that others have is also projected on us. So we always slice a piece of the cake for us. So if you are an exciting character or an entertaining character, people, or if you are popular, or if people say about you, hey, it's fun passing time. So you should also carefully select the people who you spend your time with. So man is a social being and needs society. The better the society or companionship, the better your life will be. Friendship, by the way, has nothing to do with status or money. Well, at times in Berlin there was one event, socialism. Status was not a problem at all. We had friendships between somebody who was a mason and the other one was a general manager of a huge corporation. They didn't care. Social differences, money does not count in friendships. Friendship is based on shared values and other factors, which we are talking now about. How are friendship relations born? How can people become friends? Well, shared interests and activities, extremely important. Think back in your life. Who have been your best friends in your life? How did you meet them? Was it at school? Was it in the neighborhood or in the sports club? Was it a common hobby? Or did you happen to become acquainted with them at a party? Or was it just a coincidence? Your bench neighbor in the classroom. So many friendships were generated by this. The decision was taken on your, so you are neighbors, and then you became friends for life. So common routines. You might have shared interests or hobbies. But these factors bring you together, but regularity and time is also important. It's a huge aspect in any friendship. Friendships are born not out of the blue, or from that moment we became friends. Well, at times you might say, you have passed a cool night with a buddy or a night out with somebody, and you had so much fun, it became clear, okay, on both sides there is a common interest or a shared project, and you found the way to each other. But at times, normally it's rather a slow going flow. It created by time and regular intervals, not just a one-off thing, one weekend. Flirt University. So these are highly problematic people, problem adults. Turned 40, never had an intimate relationship. They are still virgins, never had sex. And quite often they tell me, I have no real friends, or only few friends, or people that were my friends during the university years, and then we lost contact. And we had a good circle of friends will make sure that you find also quite easily or much easier a sexual partner, or because they are encouraging you, or they bring you into contact. They encourage you. They take you out to other activities. What is the difference between acquaintances and friends? Where is the borderline? When does an acquaintance become a friend? Well, I've tried to. Acquaintances, these are people that are by your side with this good weather if it happens. Friends will be by your side 100%, even with rain, wind and storm. So friendship is much deeper than just acquaintance. Friendship has nothing to do, by the way, with quantities. That you see somebody every day, or that you have good companions. If you have 50, there might be just one good friend for life. I would rather renounce 50 acquaintances for just having this one friend that stays steadfast, steadily by your side. For example, this pandemic situation. You noticed it. Who are the real friends and who are just acquaintances that will pop up with good weather and if they are in a good mood, but who will turn up even if you feel shitty? Probably. There were some days where you were really down. It was at times very oppressive. You were locked up in your homes. It's great to have people that continue writing to you, that continue writing also if there is nothing in return. If you do not smash cool parties, or if you feel bored. But feeling bored is something that you can do together with friends. You can provide your own definition. Well, I'm not a Weizsäcker. I'm not the one who has only very cool friends. Well, I do have some cool friends, but nonetheless, everybody should find his own definition of what we are doing here. So this aspect of added value was one of the reasons or rationales. It's not irrelevant. If you want to forge new contacts, which brings us right into the middle of our flirt world, a flirt situation. There are things that go utterly wrong. Many men are rejected by female groups because they cannot generate an added value. For example, you are standing at the bar, you see a group of attractive women, and then you start, sorry, can I join your conversation? Why don't we have a chat? What are you doing in your life? Do you turn up more often here? So you know what this is driving at. This guy will be rejected right away. Why? Because this guy does not promise any value. It's just frustrating. Some people, this is a vampire, an energy vampire. Are you an energy vampire? Or are you somebody that gives added value, that adds value to others, that creates something new in social interaction? It's a very consistent pattern underlying so many things. Top or flop? Hey, what's the right formulation to get into contact with woman. Well, that's the wrong question. Ask yourself, do you create an added value? It's not so easy to grasp. Giving added value. What does it do? People are egotists. What's in it for me? They will, as bad as it sounds, that's, as a matter of fact, what can you give others? An emotional added value. So you can be extremely entertaining or witty or humorous, or you are a laughing guy. You always tell them exciting stories. Probably, you know. So you leave these people, and you know something new. Information added value, or a socially added value. I have talked about social connectors. There are people that bring you into new networks, that simply bring people together. Probably you know some of them too. So you might also become acquainted with new people. So these are examples of added value, which helps you not only in flirting, but also in creating a good circle of friendships.
And you see, sometimes I have met new people in my life, and that's how the whole thing about the Flirt University started as well. Because I wanted to teach other people or help other people get in contact with other people. So one thing I did was I had loudspeakers with me to play music. So I always had music with me everywhere I went. And then I worked for a foundation that's called Hans Böckler Foundation. And there we participated in a linguistic seminar in France, in Paris. And you know, the trade unionists we met there, they had already had quite a lot of wine during the day, and then in the evening there were 2 liters of wine in addition for that, to that. So actually there was like 8 liters of wine standing on the table, 2 liters for each of us. And then we went out after that to party. And quite frankly, I didn't really find any new friends in that group. So I decided to go out on my own through the streets of Paris. And you can't imagine how quickly you can find new friends in Paris if you just have a few plastic cups with you and 8 liters of wine. Because I took that with me when I went out. And of course I met lots of people that way. Of course, they were not friends, these people, but at least I got in contact very quickly that way. They somehow liked that, you know, this German guy who only spoke a few words of French and who had the wine with him. So again, that was an added value that I could offer, because sharing can also be an added value. If you share with somebody, that's an added value for that person. Good friends share things. If you have a barbecue together, everybody will bring something. In the end, you have lots of food at the barbecue, and that's how it works. And you share amongst each other. And the same applies to the contribution you make, not only to a barbecue, but also to a good conversation. Everybody makes a contribution. You share information, you share fun. And that only works if everybody has an added benefit, an added value to offer. You know, suppose a friend of yours always comes to you and he eats up everything you have in the fridge. The first thing he does when he comes to visit you is he opens up the fridge, eats everything you have, leaves a lot of rubbish on the floor and leaves again. Well, that's not a very helpful friend, of course. That's a friend who enriches himself. But if you're a good friend, you should also enrich others. You should enrich your friends. You should offer them an emotional added value, or an information as an added value, a social added value, or sharing with others. That's also an added value you can offer. And apart from that, what good friends do is they lift up each other. That's really important. You know, it's so interesting to put somebody else on the stage, you know, and to say, everybody, look how great this guy is. You know, this is much better than just talking negatively about somebody. You know, that's also important, an important thing that we focus on at the Flirt University, because there are some people who keep on trying to bring other people down, talking negatively about other people all the time. And if somebody else has a success, they can't bear that, they can't stand that. So somebody experiences something great, and then there are people who say, well, I experienced something much better, listen to my story. You know, there are people like that who always try to stand on a higher level, who always try to who always try to have the largest tower in the town, the highest tower in the town. They try to tear down all the other towers in the town and to have the biggest tower themselves. But that's not a cool town. A cool town has lots of beautiful houses and towers. And that's why I think it's much more interesting to help other people build up their towers as well, because then you have an interesting town in the end, or an interesting circle of friends. Okay, here we have 5 quick wins for your social life. One thing that I once did, and that was really cool, I once created a mind map with my contacts with the different friends and people I knew, just in order to get an overview of what my network looks like. I know, maybe you still know some people from school or from the university, or some men you met at the Mannheim conference, or maybe when you do sports you met people there. So you can write your name in the middle of a sheet of paper, and then around you can write down all the people you know. And for each of them, let's say you can say my time in Munich or my time at the Mannheim conference. So you have the different occasions, and for each of these occasions and places you can write down the names of the friends you found there. And maybe you will find out that one of your friends got you in contact with 10 other people that you also found interesting. So that's one step you can do. Create a mind map of your social network, your social contacts, the people you know, saying where you met somebody and how you met that person. So the social connectors are also important. People who bring you in contact with somebody else. They are like multipliers. You're in contact with a friend and he helps you to find new friends. That's what I call social connectors. And then you can ask yourself, what are your most relevant connectors in your life? That might even be a business contact, not just a close friend. It might be a business contact, somebody you'd like to start a cooperation with, a business cooperation. And then you can ask yourself, what are the 3 most important persons in my life? And how can I offer them value or a benefit? How can I make them happy? Maybe a little present or something I can do with them. Maybe spend quality time with them. Maybe motivate them. Maybe support them somehow. Maybe they just need some kind of emotion from you. Maybe they need feedback from you. Maybe you should listen to them better. But if you're able to give these people an added value, a benefit, it will be worth it. And spend more time with the important people in your life that help you to move forward, and spend as little time as possible with the people who damage you. So that's an important question you have to ask yourself. Who is good for you and who damages you? And then you can say, I'll spend more time with the people who help me and less time with the people who hurt me or damage me. And then you can also ask yourself, who got lost on the way? Maybe there were some friends, some partners, some companions who used to be important in the past, but somehow we lost contact, we forgot them, maybe because you moved to a different town or because you don't do the same activities anymore that you used to do with these people, and that's why you lost contact with them. And then when John contacted me and asked me to speak about this topic at the conference, he said it would be great if I could also say a few words about what it means to be a good wingman. If you want to be a good wingman, so the wingman, that's that man who helps somebody get in contact with other people. But in this context, of course, we are talking about flirtation, about really getting in contact. This word wingman actually comes from a TV series, How I Met Your Mother. That's where they use this word, the wingman. That's your flirt support, so to speak. So if you are somebody who can help your friends get in contact with other people, start a flirt, that's not so bad, because this will make you more popular. Other people will like you for that. So suppose you go out with a friend or with a few friends and you're all sitting, so you can make the difference. Maybe the whole group will just sit there at the table, drink a few glasses of beer, and that's all. But you might also be the one who takes the initiative, who goes to the dance floor, dances with the girls and brings the girls to the table and really starts the flirtation there. Then you would be the wingman. You would be the one who really takes the initiative there. So the tasks of the wingman would be to approach women, to get in contact with the women, and then to introduce these women to your friends, or these men to your friends, depending on your sexual orientation. of course, in a way, this is more difficult for women because quite often female friends, women, they don't. When one of the women gets to know a man and has an erotic adventure with that man, then quite often her girlfriends, her female friends, don't want that, you know, because they want the man for themselves. But in a way, this is also the task of a wingman. If your friend is interested in a girl and you help him to get in contact with a girl, you also have to make sure that the girl doesn't talk to anybody else. You know, there might be other men there who are also interested in the same girl, and then it's also the task of the wingman to make sure that the girl doesn't talk to the other guy, but to your friend. And then also you should also have an eye on social dynamics that might spoil everything, because sometimes the friend will be tired or hungry and wants to leave and so on. You also have to have an eye on that. And as a wingman, you have to make sure there's a situation where it's really one-on-one. It's much easier to make out that way. If you want to be a good flirt support for your friends, if you want to be a good wingman for your friends, it's really quite good to make sure that they will that your friend will get into a one-on-one situation with that woman. I invested a lot of time in that, but you see, it's always worth doing that for your friends because they will pay you back. It's not like a one-way road. They will also, they will return the favor one day. They will also do something for you one day. And, you know, quite often I really spent quite a lot of time talking with the female friends of my friends to make sure that my friends had the time to get in contact with the woman they wanted to get in contact with. Anyway, so it's a good idea to make sure that the friend will get into a one-on-one situation with the woman. So suppose you have two guys, and actually you take two girls, two women home with you, and then you're sitting there in the living room or maybe in the kitchen, the four of you, your friend and the two girls, and you keep talking and talking, nothing happens. And then you say, this has to become a great orgy, this has to be fantastic now, I'll have sex with the woman I like here, but somehow it never happens because the four of you, you're sitting there, you just go on drinking and talking, so it's the four of you just sitting there and nothing happens. So the big difference is, are you able to get into a one-on-one situation? Not the four of you, but just the two of you. Because then you can go on, then you can start to kiss or to make out. So it's one trick, for example, is to tell one of the women, let me show you the flat. I'm going to show you the flat, the other rooms, and then it's the two of you. And one important point is to make sure that there's always a condom at hand. And then, for example, if your friend doesn't know what else to say, if he doesn't have any topics anymore, he doesn't know what else to say, then you should feed him, you should give him something to talk about. And you should also give your friend constructive feedback. And you see, a friend of mine, Alex, and me, we flew back from California, and we had a stopover in Atlanta, that's a big hub in the US. And then on the bus, you know, there was this woman sitting next to me, an extremely sweet Latina, and obviously she was interested in me, and I didn't notice that. So my colleague, my friend Alex, he said, "Horst, have a look at her. She's almost devouring you. She's almost eating you up with her eyes. Talk to her." And then I started talking to her, and we got in contact, and actually, quite frankly, we had sex, the three of us, at the airport in the end, in a small room there. Actually, we had to walk through that room, and behind that room was a corridor where nobody else was. Anyway, so sometimes it's good to tell your friend, there's this woman over there, she's interested in you, she's looking at you. Sometimes you have to, sometimes your friend won't be aware of that and you have to tell them. Now another thing a good wingman does is he will motivate you to keep going, even if it doesn't work, even if the woman is not interested. He will build you up again and to try it again the next time. The good wingman will be well informed, he will know what's going on in the city, he will be a real gentleman, he will always be in a good mood, and of course he will say, bros before hoes. In other words, that's what the women do as well, by the way. And I think we should have the same principle, bros before hoes. I think maybe the ladies are a bit more successful, a bit more good at that, but we should do the same thing. Bros before hoes, this should be the motto, the rule. So that was just a short excursion into the world of the Flirt University, and I say thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I've given you some interesting thoughts. I've been able to share some interesting thoughts with you on what makes a good friendship, what is a good friendship, and how can you make sure that you really build up a cool social network